You assisted one of his goals on his 5-goal game.
I think when we realized what it all was about,
Okay.
if I did not make the pass, I'd have been ice fishing in Nova Scotia.
Shaking your hand is like giving salutations to a first baseman's glove. It's unbelievable.
Hello, everyone, and thanks for joining us again on Sacred Grounds featuring Robbie and Uncle Paulie. I'm your host, Robbie Smikowski. More from Paul Hogan in just a couple moments. We've got a lot we're going to talk about on this episode 5. Somehow we've made it this far in the process, and we have not been canceled. We have not been thrown off the platform, and our thanks go out to everybody at One Team Media, Mark, Ryan, Jason, and the rest of the gang. Timothy, who does a lot of our social media. We appreciate your hard work very much. We have a special guest this afternoon, and it's a guy that I had the honor of calling a coworker for 11 years, I should say. We worked Penguins pre- and post-game shows together.
We did, Robbie.
On the former Root Sports, which became AT&T Sportsnet, which folded at the end of the 2023 baseball season. But Jay Caufield, Stanley Cup champion Jay Caufield.
Yes.
Do you ever get tired of hearing Stanley Cup champion Jay Caufield? What does that sound like when you hear it?
I mean, I just know it was more like the team. I was on a great team, right? And
Which is
I
a
rode
lie.
the wave. Yeah, it was a great team. But
You're a
it's
Stanley Cup champion.
yeah. No, it's very nice because as we'll get into, I grew up watching hockey in Philly when the Flyers made it and won their first couple cups there. Because I laugh about it because I see these things out in the press. Was anybody alive that ever watched the Philadelphia Flyers win a Stanley Cup? Right, you see those ones, you know it.
I know
Robbie's
it.
pure Philly, right? We know that. So
I was 4.
He was 4. So
I was 3 months shy of being born, and I'm 50.
So there you go. That's how long it's been in Philly. So yeah, but listen, no, whenever you say that and realize I was part of a team that was just phenomenal, great guys, and still great friends with a lot of the guys today. And very nice to hear.
Here's what I'm always curious about. At what point in time does a team begin to think? Now, granted, you had 66 on your team, so you probably thought that first day of training camp. But at what point in time does a team begin to believe they could win it all?
I think if you look at, even as I look at the team this year for the Penguins, I think when you feel like, I think how I used to look at it, who's going to beat like a Mario Lemieux-led team in a 7-game series? Like if you give them 7, it's the best of 7, you got to win 4. I think when I look at it, I go, who's going to truly beat our Pittsburgh Penguins? After the trade was made, you had Ronnie Francis and Ulf Samuelsson come into the fold, and with guys like Brian Trottier and all the superstars, Mark Recchi, Kevin Stevens, go down the line. I'm leaving guys out. I feel bad by doing that, but I didn't think teams were going to beat. I think it would be very tough to beat our team in a 7-game series, and I feel the same way. I kind of look at this current Penguins team and feel the same thing. They're going to be a tough out. So again, if you look at it that way and go, really, is anybody, even a team they might be a little bit better, I kind of still look. I go, who's going to beat us in 7 games that I didn't feel that anybody would.
I remember you guys in the 90s. You guys were tall. You guys were the biggest team in the league.
Yeah.
Would you agree with that?
Well, I think it happened too. First of all, you take Mario, who's 6'5", and then you added Shel Samuelsson to the mix.
Yeah.
I was 6'5" if you put all the heights together, but Shel Samuelsson coming in. I think Kevin Stevens, a big body. The game was big anyway. I mean, it was getting bigger, right? And it wasn't, not everybody was in the same film, but we were a big skilled team. And some guys really, like I said, Kevin Stevens was a premier power forward
intimidating to
other
teams, other players? Would that be intimidating where everybody is so tall on the other team?
I guess no, not really. I don't really think so. Except the tall players that we had, I'm going to go with, like I said, Mario. He might be tall, but he was the best player. We feel the best player to play the game and best what we see. So you have a size like that with Mario, and then you put the skill with that, Paulie. Then that's an intimidating thing. Size and skill, the skill set that Mario had. That's intimidating in itself. The rest of the guys being just whether they're tall, because if you're tall and big, but if you don't have an edge to your game, then it's not intimidating at all. Right? If you're a big body, you got to play like a guy that's on the edge. Kevin Stevens played on the edge. Man, he was always physical. So when you have that blend, that's what does make it scary. So guys like Kevin, Mario in his way dominated. So that part of it's intimidating, yes.
Okay, good. Just one other question was For me, and I love this forum because you got you guys on your side, player, media, and then it's me as more as the fan. The game has changed hockey for me. The way superstars were just taken, they were ran at
Yeah.
in all those years where it hasn't happened now. Can you tell me what would happen to a player like Mario right now, or even Yager for that, in this with where they could skate more free?
Yeah, I think there was so much clutching and grabbing in the years that I was part of the league, right? You could hold up if you dumped the puck in, guys could hook and hold you, and you weren't free to get on the forecheck and things like that. They could obstruct you. The defenseman, if you chipped it by a defenseman went on the forecheck, they could interfere with you. That part is all out of the game. So I think if you had a player like Mario who could freewheel and not be, the hooks, the clutches, the grabs, yeah, I mean, he still lit up the league. And if he had that much freedom, it would even be at a greater level.
Yeah, I think he could have scared 16 more points.
How many points would Mario, like prime Mario, have today?
I think he would say, look, prime Mario today in the sport. Look, I'm also going to say
250?
The game is bigger, faster, more skilled than what it was 20 years ago, like in every other sport.
Yeah.
I mean, but because I'm sure if guys watch film of our era and then before, they watch a highlight and they go, yeah, how slow does that look? Right? That's what it would be like. But we were in the best league in the world in the NHL the years I played. Now the skill level is up, the speed is up, the quickness, their skating ability, what they do with the puck. But the one thing that's not in the game that was the absolute recklessness of the game. I mean, the ability for somebody coming across the middle to get a hit on you when you're, maybe finishing a shot. They took all that out of the game for right reasons. I mean, there's a lot of it that made it that way, but Mario he could play. There's players that can play in any era. Mario's a player that plays in any era. Sidney Crosby could play in any era. I mean, what Mario did, we watched him, you had a front row seat of what he was doing. I mean, you watch him on the power play, he would invite more people to come to him. Like, go ahead, he's got the puck and bring it on kind of thing. He's going to get an opening and find a guy that's wide open and finish it off. So unique, such the greatest talent to me. With size, Wayne Gretzky has all the records, all those records. You can't say anything regarding that. But as far as Mario, the size, this thing, and everything, if he had been healthy, that's the thing that got away from it, right?
I've looked at the point per game average.
Oh my God.
It's by the way, I wore this shirt.
Oh, that's a great shirt. No. It's a
high-end shirt, right?
He'll think a lot of that.
Yeah.
He'll love that.
Make sure you show this to
I
him.
will show him that.
All right,
for sure.
Here's what I want to know. We're going to move off of Mario in a second, but to have a chance to talk to a guy who played with him, like when you look back on your life and your career, right? To call Mario Lemieux a teammate, what was the day-to-day like? What was he like in the locker room? What was he like eating dinner with? What was he like on the bus or on the plane? Was he just an unassuming guy? Like, he knew how great he was, but he doesn't strike me as a guy who's like, hey, I'm me and you're you. He didn't strike me as that kind of guy.
Nope. He was, but it was almost, he understood where there's a presence when he walks in a room.
Right.
Even like now when we go play golf, he has a presence walking to the first tee.
Is he a better golfer or a hockey player?
Oh, he's a great golfer, but he's the best hockey player. So we have to say. So he's a phenomenal golfer, but he has that. There's a presence, like truly a presence. I'm going to give you a story. I'll give you one idea of it. So the Stanley Cup Finals when the Pens won in Nashville. So my wife Alicia's with me. I was working for the work I was doing. So I was at the game doing my work, and Alicia took the trip up with me, and we're all friends. And Alicia was in the suite with Mario's family and all that. And to get down to the bottom of the building after they won, it's like lockdown. Like you can't get anywhere. Everybody's, you don't have a pass, you're not getting in. And then as my wife told me the story, she said when he came down to help them get to the locker room, it was like the seas parted, right? Literally, all of a sudden it's Mario and the seas part. And you walk right through and you follow along with him. He has a presence like no other, right? Truly does.
No doubt.
And he carries it everywhere. But he is not somebody that he never made you feel, you're a fourth liner, I'm this. First of all, it's kind of understood. I kind of knew it, right? You knew that. Obviously, but he never would be a guy to make you feel that at all. And he's been a great teammate. He's a great friend. We golf still, we're around each other, golf season, we golf a lot. So great guy. But he is so, I can't say enough about it because there's in this city, there's so many great sports ownerships, franchises, the teams that have been here, the players, and we've been around some of the best in a way that I don't know many cities get to see that. I mean, elite, the best of the best, and Mario was that.
Okay, a couple things.
Yeah.
You assisted one of his goals on his 5-goal game.
I did. Yeah. Yeah, you might go, why would I?
Well,
tap it?
hold on.
Yeah.
5 goals, 5 different ways.
Five
5
different
goals, 5
ways.
different ways.
What are the 5?
I think that's assumed.
No,
It's not assumed.
assumed.
No, it's not.
Not at all.
Oh, well, it would be to me.
But see, because we know that's right. I like that, Paul.
I
Yeah,
know it.
yeah,
That's what I'm saying. It
So
shows how
it's-
crazy it
okay.
is.
yeah. So it's even strength,
Oh,
power play,
yeah.
shorthanded, penalty shot, and an empty netter.
All right. You got the assist on the empty net goal. Tell me the story. And first, well, hold on.
Okay.
Before we even get there, how friggin' cool is that? Like, Jay, that is never getting taken away from you. And I'm not saying it to kiss your ass, but like I'm always, I don't want to say envious, but it's just fascinating to see players in any sport,
Yeah.
whether you're on the wrong end of a perfect game, which I have one of the stories in my book, Sacred Grounds, is like you're a part of one of the biggest moments in the history of that sport. You're in the score sheet.
Yeah.
Like, how does something like that resonate with you? How many years later? What are we? 38 years.
Yeah.
38 years later,
Yeah.
almost.
Yeah. So I think it was voted as the greatest play. You know, they said play, but it was the event in NHL history. I think so. When I look at that, it is wild. I mean, the thing first, so I know number one that I got tapped on the shoulder to be out there with them. That usually you don't have. That's usually not the case. Gino Baracco, I don't know, had me tapped on the shoulder, whether he did it by mistake or not, but I hopped right over. So I was out there, and it was a lot. The empty net was there. But I will tell you, I had no idea. We had no idea. I don't think anybody had an idea that if he gets an empty net goal, that this is going to be this amazing
So
thing.
on the bench, you were not aware at that
No, I was
particular
not
moment.
aware. No, I wasn't aware of that. So when the puck came around the wall and it was down, I went down low in the corner to pick it up on the wall and come out of it. And as I was coming out of it, I saw him up ice, in the neutral zone kind of thing. And there's a look. First of all, I'm not a big goal scorer. So you would love to have a shot. That never entered my mind. I was only going to move it to whoever was ahead of me, and it was Mario, and I saw him on the left half of the ice, and I gave it to him, and then he got it just in time. It was just under the...
Well, it was just you and him, too. There was no second helper on that, so it's just you.
It was just me, yeah. So it
Just
comes
you.
around the wall. Is that right? Yeah, it comes around the wall.
Yeah, you're the only assist.
Yeah,
on
yeah.
that
So
goal.
it comes around the wall, and I pick it up down the corner. Either a rebound. It's either off the goaltender or it was rung around. So I had to make sure I go down and pick it up and then come up the ice and hit him going up. So, yeah, Paulie, it's a good... and Robbie, it's a good... that one's kind of wild to think that that's there, yeah.
Do you have any memorabilia from that day? Do you have
No.
the score sheet or anything?
No,
You
I
have anything
don't.
to keep?
I did make one joke. My wife, I said, I think when we realized what it all was about,
Yeah, when... Okay.
if I did not make the pass, I'd have been ice fishing in Nova Scotia. No, he would never. He's never. I didn't think anything other than giving it to him. So it was never like a question would I do it. But I did joke. I go, Jesus, imagine if I did not get it to him and he was that close to some special record that is, it's amazing feat.
When did you realize he had done it 5 different ways? When you got in the locker room?
I'm trying to think.
Do you
It must have
remember?
been inside. I think when we were in the locker room and it was brought up, and maybe Tom McMillan might have been somebody who brought it to
Former
everybody's
PR
attention.
extraordinaire.
Yeah, Tom was outstanding. It might have been Tom McMillan that came in the locker room and told us what it was about. And I still don't think it even, to be honest, it was like, we've seen him do so many amazing. In my short, now that's inside of, I came here in October of '88. So that was inside that first number of months I was here.
Yeah, New Year's Eve, 88.
There you go, New Year's Eve '88. So I was only here a number of months. So, but I'd already seen enough of, what he does and what he does each and every night. So yeah, I don't think it.
Well, we all found out from Mike Lang on the spot on my side.
Did you really?
Yeah.
Watch
What
it.
was Mike Lang like to listen to for you?
I actually knew Mike Lang well. We used to drink in the Park House together. I got great Mike Lang stories that I don't even know if I could tell here.
But
I will.
no.
But I will.
But he was engaging, right? He was
Incredibly engaging.
yep.
Yeah.
listening to him as a fan, though, what's it like growing up a Penguins fan listening to Mike Lang?
For Mike Lang, you don't even realize that he's probably, I'm not going to go so far as to say the best ever because I haven't heard everybody, but I can't imagine there were too many more people better than Mike Lang. Yeah. We just didn't know it because we had him our whole life. He called soccer games when I was a little kid for the Spirit, Pittsburgh Spirit.
We had Gene Hart
in Philadelphia, Gene Hart and Don Earl.
As he would say, good night and good hockey.
Yeah. Well, they used to give away a case of Tasty Cakes at in between periods, or if you get the game winning goals, get case of
Oh,
we know what Tasty Cakes are. So Tasty Cakes in Philly is a big.
They're the greatest snack.
Dessert. Yeah, you can now get them. You can now
What's
get them across the.
What's your favorite Tasty Cake? Mine is peanut butter candy cakes.
I'm not that one. I am the white icing with the cream in the middle.
Oh,
that's the one I like.
What do you like that came out of Philly, Paul?
Rocky. I don't.
There you go. That's good. That's a good.
Yeah.
That's good.
Which, by the way, both of you, all you people, think that he's real. You know,
he makes that joke all the time on his face.
You're dancing on the edge.
Philadelphia is good for many things. One is all you people think that Rocky was real, and every chick looks like John Croc in that town.
Now I know I have him as my co-host.
Oh, I get it. Listen, the home of cheesesteak, though, cheesesteak and pizza in Philly. Yep. So
I used to guest bartend in Philly at a place called Finnegan's Wake. More than once. Yep, so we used to go out there a lot. I have a lot of great memories from Philadelphia.
Yeah.
And none of them were the 6 out of 10 chicks that look like John Croc in that town.
He's a moron. So and we talk a lot of baseball on this Sacred Grounds featuring Robbie and Uncle Paulie podcast. But what's cool about bringing you here is, given light that the Penguins playing the Flyers here in 2026 in the playoffs, is the rivalry. Yeah. So let's just talk for a second, Jay. We both grew up in Philadelphia. I grew up in South Philly right by the vet. I used to sneak into the Eagles practice, was a ball boy for the Eagles, and I lived a Philadelphia fandom my whole life. Yeah. Growing up, and you know this, and you both know this, I've never said this on the air, and I'm going to get filleted for saying this, but I was the biggest Flyers fan on planet Earth.
Why?
I remember the Flyers Wives Fight for Lives Carnival one time.
Because of Barry Ashby.
My mother, Barry Ashby, number 4, passed away. And it was sold out when my mother Linda, my late stepfather Joe, they went to take me. They were sold out. I cried. And then when the Rangers, Pierre LaRouche and the Rangers beat the Flyers in the first round of the playoffs, I threw everything I had and cried that night. That's how much I love the Flyers. So I love like Dave Poulin, Tim Kerr, Ronnie Hextall. The list goes on and on and on. I can name 500 guys, not 500, but I can name 100 easily from the 1980s Flyers. But when you look at Pittsburgh-Philadelphia rivalry, the Steelers and Eagles never really had a rivalry. Two different conferences. Yeah. And then you look at Phillies Pirates, like when the Pirates were good in the 90s, the Phillies weren't very good. Yeah. And then you look when the Pirates were good in 2013, 14, 15, the Phillies were not very good. Yeah. And then you go back to the 70s, Pirates won in 79, Phillies won in 80. But it's not like a real passionate rivalry. But when you talk Penguins Flyers, holy shit.
I hate them.
What is it about that rivalry, Jay, that sparks up the emotions that we see?
Yeah, to me, being in Pittsburgh and playing in Philly, I love being able to go play in the Spectrum. So I love being part of the Penguins and what that was about. I love being in the same state that I grew up in, but something about being a Penguin was the best part, right? So I was going in there, and I think when you get into that world of when I went in that 88-89 season, the Penguins hadn't beat Philly in Philly for I don't know how many games it was. I don't know how many years it was and how many games.
It was
30 some. I don't know what the number was. Big.
It was like 15 years.
Yeah, so it's a big number.
Long time.
So we go in there and we were just talking about this on our little podcast that we do with Larry Richard. I mean, the idea they brought the guys from DVE. They were doing like a witch stand, everything like that. Everything to break the curse. And going in there and playing that. First of all, going into the Spectrum #1 in that time frame, you were going into a different world. It was different from the fan base to the players on the Philadelphia Flyers side. Whenever they were in warm up, they're crossing over, they're doing all the things that that they do, and I love being every part of being in the Spectrum where I grew up, going to
my favorite place.
Watching some concerts, any sporting event like Flyers, Sixers, whatever it was. So for me to be in there and play there was awesome. Now, it keeps picking up as you get into the playoffs and everything goes on, and it's only continued to do that with Sidney Crosby then in the mix.
Yeah.
And how they hate Sidney Crosby.
Which is crazy. Sid is the nicest guy on planet Earth.
It's not about that, though. It's not about that. They hated Mario. They hated about Mario, but they respected Mario.
And cheered him when he came back. Yeah. First game back was in
Except when
Philly.
He went back as an owner, I think he was like, I'm never going back in there again, probably. But as a player, they respected everything he did at the end of his career. But while you're going through it, Sidney Crosby's the best player. They don't have him, and they're sour about it. And then they come on and they get after him. All he does is stir him up even more. He just the more they do it, the more he gets after it. So I would say for me, in Philly, I scored a game with Bob Johnson, our Stanley Cup year.
Yep.
My one goal in the Spectrum, which is the greatest thing for me to score in the
It's
Spectrum.
amazing.
It was a game
life
goal.
memory.
No, it is. That one for me is because we grew up as you. It'd be like anybody around here if you played in the arena or now PPG Paints Arena. You score a goal in your hometown. For me, scoring in Philly on a great pass by Bob Erie, it ended up being a game-winning goal when Bob Johnson was that Stanley Cup year. That was a great moment for me. But there is something alive about it when you go into that building. When you walked into this, when you skate into the Spectrum, and they're playing "Welcome to the Jungle" is the music that comes on. In between periods, everything. That's what they did. If you're not into that part, and you have to be because they're coming after you,
And the fans are right on top.
they're on top of you. It was a great thing. Now I can give you another little story about the Spectrum. My brother had a couple season tickets in the one corner, one end of the rink. And I remember I was dating my wife, my girlfriend at the time. We went home at spring break, and I was a Flyers fan, still in college. So my brother, I used the tickets, went to a game. So I went to a game in April, late April or early April, before the season ended. And to think, I'm cheering the Flyers, but then 4 months later, I'm going in now as a player. No idea if it was ever going to be because I was just out of football. So the long story about that. But to me, being in the Spectrum and what that was about, and then the rivalry that's built between the two, like you said, none of the other sports has it. The hockey side of it, Pens, Flyers, I'm not sure there's a better rivalry, to be honest.
What do you make of? What's it like for a fan to watch that rivalry?
The Philadelphia rivalry.
Flyers, Penguins. Flyers,
I
Penguins.
can't even tell you how much I hate Philadelphia hockey. I hate it with a passion. For the Spectrum, I've been in the Spectrum one time. I think they closed in 06, 05.
09.
09. I was at the last event ever there. It was a Pearl Jam.
Pearl
concert.
Jam, yep.
So I drove there to see Pearl Jam. It's the only time I've ever been to Spectrum.
Oh, my God.
So I missed everything. Back in those days, I used to drive to the Cap Center a lot.
Yeah.
The Penguins used to break their hearts
You never went to
every
Flyers
year.
Pen? That's a shame. You should
Not
have
in
went.
the Spectrum.
Yeah,
Not in the
that's
Spectrum.
wild. Yeah.
So the new one, yes, but not in the old one.
There was a different. Some of the new buildings are there out there, but the old buildings there was a lot of.
It had aura.
Yeah.
Like there was just something about.
There was red seats. It was dark when you went into it. It was, man, you knew you were in for like a kind of battle. That's what it was. You knew you were in for something different because it just felt that way getting off the bus. Honestly, it just like I guarantee when I walk in this, and Robbie, we've talked about this before, and Paul, you hear the story, you can relate. When you go into a building like when it's going to be the Penguins Flyers this weekend, when you go into the building, you can feel it. There's a different feel in the building.
100%.
There's an electricity to it versus hey, the Pens are playing Buffalo or whatever. I'm not knocking Buffalo. I'm just saying, using them as an example. It's not the same buzz. There's something about Pens Flyers, and I'm really happy that this is what we're going to see and get to see.
I love this stuff. Now,
I would compare that to when I was growing up, Steelers Cleveland. There was a big hatred there. In later years, Steelers Baltimore, the Ravens. But even those don't touch how much I hate the Philadelphia Flyers. It was a puck from the first game ever in Console, and they lost.
Oh yeah, you
got a puck from the first game.
You know what the goal center was for Flyers?
For the first game ever.
Yeah, PPG. I mean,
I do
What year
not.
was
Console,
that?
Console,
09,
Console.
right? Or 10? What year was that?
No, it was at 6, wasn't it? It was
No.
10. 10. It was
Console
10.
Energy Center.
It was 10.
For the
Do you know who
Flyers.
the goalie was for the Flyers?
2010. Was it Michael Layton?
Nope.
I do not.
I'm pretty sure. Maybe about that. Bob Bobrovsky. It's Bobrovsky.
Oh, Bob was
Yeah.
going to be my next
Is
guest.
that
How about
it
that?
was?
So they had him,
I
all
wouldn't
the
know it
problems they've had in Philly with goaltending, and they had Bobrovsky, and he goes on to.
Yeah, he only
bigger,
won 2
better.
cups.
I think he ended up in Columbus. I think he went from Philly to
yep.
Columbus and then
did
Florida.
well.
Florida.
Yeah,
And
it's a great one there.
so I don't even like this puck because they beat us 3-2.
We got a true hater here, man.
Yeah, I know.
That's a true hater on
We're
our side.
outnumbered here.
Yeah.
So,
So listen, though, once you've been here this long, though, you can't be. It comes up all the time because I'm from Philly.
and I take so much shit for this.
Yeah, well,
and
you
it's
gotta be careful,
okay.
Robbie.
It's like you're born in Philly. Like where are you from? Philly. Well, like I don't care. I don't control where I'm from. Like I don't control the fact that I'm born and raised in Philadelphia. My parents controlled that, not me. But I'm a homeowner here. You're a homeowner in
I raised my kids
Pittsburgh.
there, so-
You raised your family here.
Okay.
I purposely did not move from Pittsburgh because I love living here.
Yeah.
And it's almost like that. It's like the big brother, little brother complex a little bit. And that's how I feel like about this rivalry. So like you go to Philly, it's like, oh my God, I love Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh's great. I love going there. Anybody I tell from Pittsburgh that I'm from Philly, I'm sorry. Like there's always some kind of comment, but like I don't control it. And I love both cities.
Yeah, I don't go that deep though. Robbie's getting a little deep.
Yeah,
I don't really.
What are you gonna say, Paul?
Yeah.
What I was going to say is you and I, we went and watched the World Series, and you got called. We were watching baseball. He and I, we were in the beer barn.
What city were we in?
In Pittsburgh for the 2 World Series ago. You got called out for not rooting for Arizona.
Arizona Philly. It was Arizona Philly. It was the
yeah.
last game of the NLCS when the
yeah.
Diamondbacks made it in 2023.
Yes,
I see.
That's exactly what it
so
was.
a Philly guy, yelled at Robbie for rooting for the Diamondbacks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We have a friend that's a equipment guy for the Diamondbacks, so we were cheering for our buddy, wearing our Arizona Diamondbacks hoodies.
Oh, so listen, for
Yeah.
me, it's kind of a healthy. It's a funny.
You root for a friend, yeah.
Yeah, I kind of love the idea. Like I said, I truly love being in. I was born in Pennsylvania. I love being in the state of Pennsylvania. I love that I raised my kids here in Pittsburgh.
Right.
My wife, from Minnesota, being here, we kind of love it. I wouldn't have it any other way. I love going into Philly as somebody for the Penguins. I even said 17,000 people when you're in the Spectrum, and I'm from at the time. There wasn't many people from the Philly side in the NHL. The fans were so nasty. They're nasty.
Yeah. Oh,
and you know what? It's part of that's kind of, they take pride in being that way. It's part of it's part of the deal, Robbie, right, Paul?
Yeah.
That's the way it is.
Oh, no
So
doubt.
I enjoy it all the time.
You mentioned the Upper Midwest, and a lot of people, I don't think, really know this story. And I don't know how much you've talked publicly about this, Jay. But, Paul, do you know how many college hockey games Jay Caufield played in his career? North Dakota. He went to University of North Dakota.
I hate like hell that I don't know this, so I'm
One.
going to take
He played one college hockey
That's what I
game.
was going to guess.
One.
No, I wouldn't have guessed
How,
one.
like-
I would have never guessed that.
All right. So for those that don't know, Jay Caufield was a college football player.
Right.
Played high school and football. Where'd you go to high school?
No, I didn't play football in high school.
Oh, you did play.
That's when I started playing. That's when I started skating.
That's what it was. That's what. Okay.
Started skating
So
in
the
high
point
school.
is, Jay's Philly guy, University of North Dakota. He played one college hockey game and ended up winning a Stanley Cup and playing a number of years in the NHL. How the hell does that happen?
Okay, so yeah, first of all, I did go a route through from out of high school. I started skating in high school, which we being in Philly, I played football and baseball my whole early life. And then when I got to high school, to this day, I knew my father, I said that I was going to try and play hockey and not football anymore. And I think he was very good about it. He just said, make sure you give it your all kind of thing. And I knew inside he was like, really? This is what you're doing? But I did it. And then I tried to play a year in junior hockey. I went up and made a team in Toronto, outside of Toronto.
What was the name of the team?
It was Milton, Ontario. Milton. In Milton,
What were they called? The Milton what?
It was Milton Flyers,
Okay.
ironically.
Great name.
So Milton, Ontario, just 45 minutes west of the city. Played there 1 year. Then I knew I needed to go to school. I went to Hibbing, Minnesota first to go. Ironically, I chose Hibbing. I needed to go that route. And when I went to Hibbing, I was going to play hockey there. They asked me, have you ever played football before? I said, yeah, I played football growing up. He goes, well, here the sports can't overlap. So to get to know guys, why don't you play football? I want you to try and go off for the team. So I went out for the team, was on the team, and I got scholarship offers for football from there. Well, but I played junior college hockey in Minnesota and then took a full ride to North Dakota, went to University of North Dakota for football. They would let me skate. North Dakota, wink, wink, they did. So I did, but my football was going so well that I didn't skate for 2 more years in college. I was just all football driven. And then I got hurt in football. So I ended up I had a neck injury that I wouldn't pass any physicals in the NFL world, but I got cleared by the Mayo Clinic to play. I get allowed to play hockey in North Dakota, let me come out and skate. And that's how, and I played with there were great teammates in North Dakota, like from Dave Tippett, who we've known, James Patrick, right? Gord Shervitt,
James Patrick.
Troy Murray, who just passed away in Chicago, goalie John Casey, Eb Belfour. There were so many guys who were all great that I was just skating with them. And in one game, I get into a game because a good buddy of mine, Jim Archibald, his son Josh Archibald played
for the Pens for a little bit.
Yeah, great guy. Jim Archibald got suspended, and they needed a player, and they put me in the lineup. So I played against BU, Boston University.
And who did they have?
And John Cullen was on the team. Ironically, ended up being teammates later on.
An original Tampa Bay Lightning, John Cullen.
So John Cullen was awesome. But I played against them my one game, and playing in North Dakota is like going to state college for hockey. I mean, it is the biggest deal in Grand Forks. The hockey program was second to none or one of the top, and I got a chance to play when I was a defenseman. I played on the blue line, and I loved every moment. I thought that was the greatest thing that ever, and I thought that was the end of my. I got in one game. I didn't just all the guys came back healthy, and I played it out, and then I skated with all those pro players in the summertime. And when I skated with all the pro players, I worked with all of them. And throughout the summer, then I got phone calls. They went back to their camps, and 5 guys told them about me. And the first call I got was from James Patrick telling Craig Patrick about me. And they called and offered me an invite.
What was Craig
Craig
doing?
was the GM in the New York Rangers.
Rangers, that's right.
Which is a small world. Craig was the GM. They flew me out late in training camp, and 10 days later, they signed me to a contract. And that's how I started.
Is that incredible?
So North Dakota, there's still the greatest building in the land of college sports. It's a great building for.
What was that called? Well, it's called the Ralph now, right?
Yeah,
Ralph Engelstad Arena.
That's what it was.
What was it? So the Ralph got redone.
It was redone. They built a new. It was a new building, right?
That's right. Yeah.
So Engelstad Arena.
I was in Minnesota when they did that.
So Engelstad Arena was awesome, and they play. So inside the building, though, you'll see they have the pictures of everybody who played pro hockey from North Dakota, and you go through the building, you'll find Jim Archibald 200 games and blah, blah, blah. And there's because people send me the picture of it, it's priceless. Send me a picture and go, Jay, whatever, my name and one college game and but then they go down, then they have
Cup champion, right?
One college game.
It's kind of priceless because Paulie. Then they go underneath and it's Brad Berry, who was the head coach. He's a teammate of mine, and he took me through the tour of what when they give people when they walk them into the building for recruiting and their wall of fame kind of thing, and all the guys who went on and played pro, all the guys who won cups, and chuckle, if you will. But Jonathan Toews and I had the same amount of Stanley Cups until he got a third one. So it's pretty cool how they've honored it and what they do. But I owe that university, Gino Gasparini, John Marks, Kerry Eads were the coaches, and Dean Blaze. I owe them a lot because if it wasn't for them, they let me come out and skate. And if they didn't let me come out and do it, I've never been on my path to where it went into New York and eventually here. And I've loved every moment about being here. Pretty much learned the game as I was in the pros, learning as I was
That's
going.
almost an unbelievable track.
Yeah. Did you ever know that about Jay? You've known who he is for 30 years.
And how I would never even guess that. How could you even guess such a thing? That's amazing.
It's a crazy. How many times have you told that story publicly?
Not
many.
Probably pieces of it, but not many. Not like we just did right here. Just not. It's
so two
it's
other
great,
things.
great to be a part of it.
One, how's your golf game?
My golf game. I'm I just played over the weekend over the Masters, our Masters trip, which we really go down to Florida and watch them. But you do too. We fly down and we play golf in the morning, and then we watch golf all afternoon. Go out to dinner and repeat again for all the days. So my scores down in Florida for the first rounds of the year were like from 81. My last 2 rounds were like 82, 81. That's what I am.
82, 81.
Yeah, I'm not like Mario's.
That
Wait.
sucks.
No. I'm not. No, I said I
outta
had
here.
my first round was like 87. My next third one was 85. Then I had an 82 and 81 through those 4 rounds that we got in, and then flew back. But I'm like, hey, look, I'm a 7 index. Do the math. I'm not.
You made all your putts to throw in an 81. That's pretty.
Yeah. Some parts I do good, and some parts I'm like, what was that kind of thing, right? I love the game. I love working at it. The guys I get to play with, like Mario's, we talked about Mario on the golf course. So we talked about how his demeanor, he's got the perfect, he's got the perfect swing. Just not a surprise. It's probably one if you watch him and, he's one you would emulate. You would want to have a swing like that. Such a great tempo. And his son is trying to make it in the golf world. Austin Lemieux is a great, great player and hits the ball forever. But my game is a 7 index.
I would emulate the guy that shot 81 too. I would emulate that guy as well.
Hey, I would take that all the time. Somehow,
and then
down in Florida stuff.
The last one, baseball. Growing up in Philly,
yeah,
the size that you are, and shaking your hand is like giving salutations to a first baseman's glove. It's just it's unbelievable. So what did you play, first base?
No, when I was a kid growing up, and we played from Little League, and my brother and I were on the same team. Remember, our team was called the JCs in our Little League world, right? And my brother would pitch, I would catch, then he would catch, and I'd pitch, and I'd play, and I could play third. But we played anywhere then. But we were pitcher and catcher growing up and through Little League, which everybody did. But third base, first base, any positions we played. And then when all my brother stayed in the sport, and his 2 boys, one played at Monmouth University and just graduated, and he was a second baseman. And his middle son played he got a scholarship to North Carolina, and then bounced around a little bit. I know the last 2 years he finished up he was playing for the Wild Things. Loved watching him go play. There's a great park there, by the way, to go watch a game there, the entertainment level. But, it takes a lot to make it, and you need things to fall your way. But I loved baseball when I was growing up. I loved playing it. But I stopped playing baseball. When I can tell you I stopped playing baseball? I'll tell you this. We go, you go through Little League, Community League, then you step up, Pony, whatever, all the way up to Legion Ball. And I remember a coach not starting me, and in place of a guy that wore black socks, I'll never fucking forget this. He had black socks. He wore black socks. I remember thinking to myself,
"This is it.
I'm gonna sit here and watch a guy wear black socks. Who does that?" So I literally walked down. My brother was on a team. My brother, I always played with older. I was always playing up because my brother was older.
Yeah.
Which was always good for me. That was always great for me. My brother Ed, I remember walking him. I go, "I'm done." I remember when I saw that did it. I walked off. I walked off the field and I go, I'll never do this again. I go, I am. And any athlete will know what I mean when I say that. You guys know what I mean. You can't wear spikes and bite. I just wasn't. So that was it. I had my buddies I remember my buddies came and picked me up and go, "I'm done with it."
And that was
baseball.
it.
That was the last time. I just stayed football, and then I was starting to play hockey. So that's it. So that's my base. But I love it, and I love watching my brother's boys play.
Oh yeah.
Great. Like everything. Every sport is bigger, faster, stronger. The skill set, everything goes up, Paulie. So that's how I feel about it.
That's incredible. Yeah. So first of all, I want to say thank you.
Oh, Robbie,
for the pizza.
I don't know the pizza store. You mentioned this before. I have no idea what you're talking about.
Can we get a one shot here, Mark, on this? All right. Wait, hold on. Go back to a 3-shot for a second. Have we ever told this story publicly?
I don't think so. So let me tee it up.
Do I have your permission to tell this story?
Can I first tee up?
Yeah, hell yeah.
So for the boys, everybody that works down at the studio, they're outstanding, right, Robbie?
They are.
Yeah.
Let me say
throw
this
the names
for
out.
1 second. I have never, and I mean this. This is a God's honest truth. We joke a lot. I have never in my entire life been around a better group of coworkers than the group we had at AT&T Sportsnet. They are genuinely some of my best friends who looked out for me day in and day out during what was a rocky tenure for me. For other facets, and they are the singular greatest human beings that I've ever worked with in my entire life. So that's kind of sets the stage a little bit for how everybody treated everybody at the network formerly known as AT&T Sportsnet. A lot of them are still working with, not all of them, but a good percentage of them you still work with now.
Yeah, they have been there through it, and there's even T-shirts guys made up with 5 different companies. It's been named 5 different things. I don't know. It's we see where we're at now, but. When I already there,
sent him. We have the picture, just so you know.
So when we were there, Paulie, I'd be there every night, and I'd be hungry sometimes at night. And I go, man, the guys, they've been here all day. It was a split duty between Pirates and Pens, and I don't know how many years ago, but I said I'm going to buy everybody pizza. Right? Started like that, something simple. Well, I'd buy pizza like I don't know. I'd buy maybe 10 plus times a year, maybe more.
I was going to say 40 games, at least once a month, and specifically you would do it when we would be in the studio for the West Coast starts.
Yeah.
So like we would get there, the guys would get there like 6, 7 o'clock at night, even perhaps a little bit earlier. And they were long nights, and these guys had families. They were getting home at 2:30 a.m., not like you and I used to get home at 2:30 a.m. Mm-hmm. And Jay made it a little bit easier by buying pizza for the whole group because we all love pizza.
Yeah.
Here's where it gets good. Was Dave Ricchini, who we obviously both know quite well.
We do.
Who's a co-host of yours on Larry and the Big Man podcast, by the way. Make sure you check that out. If you're watching this, Larry and the Big Man, he's the Big Man, Larry Richert, and Dave Ricchini, the 3 of those guys host the show. So Dave is an asshole, and I mean that in a good way, and I love Dave. Dave, you are an asshole.
It's already my favorite kind of person.
Right. I love him. So Jay buys the pizza, and the one thing when you work with Jay was, like, during the game, leave him alone, like, because he's paying attention to what's going on, and that is what makes you a great analyst. As your former co-host, what makes you a great analyst is I see the amount of work that you put in to the craft and the work. Like when you see Jay's telestration, what people never see, and I wish we had taken video of this, and I wish I personally have, because we have an editor named Ryan Wood who's still there, and I love Woody. You're the greatest, Woody. And he was working replays, and Jay would have a notepad from what he was watching in the game, and he walked over to Woody's workstation. Woody, let's look at this play. So it wasn't like they pulled Jay's telestration out of his ass. He watched every single thing that happened, and he would run it back. This is what I want to talk about. and I would sit at my desk. Jay was on the other end, and he would go over to Woody, say, let's watch this. Okay, start here, wait, I'm going to point out this, this, and this. You were meticulous with how you prepped for Jay's telestration, first of all. And that's something I always admire about you, is how you went about your job. You didn't just walk up and start talking. You genuinely worked your ass off to be the best you could be at being an analyst.
Yeah. I think probably if, like you, Robbie.
Yeah.
Paul,
we delve off from the pizza story.
Robbie, you're not 6 tracks off of the pizza story with that one there.
So as I was saying about the pizza, so Dave Ricchini, who's an asshole, by the way, I don't know if I said that yet. So Jay would be in the room working. I did get off track on that story, but this is what's funny about this is it's go over and say thanks to Jay. Hey, Jay, thanks for the pizza. Okay. Then all right, Mikey Welsh, go over, thank Jay for the pizza. Next thing you know, 14 guys walk in at 14 different times and thank Jay for the pizza. Finally, Jay's like, all right, guys, what the fuck? You're welcome for the pizza, right? So then finally I wouldn't say get under your skin, but kind of like a little bit of an annoyance, which is all what's all Dave wanted to do was give you a little bit of an annoyance, where it's like, all right, guys, enough. Thanks. You're welcome. You're welcome. But you kept buying pizza. So, Jay, how many times a night would you get thanked for buying pizza?
All the guys, they thank me throughout the night. No, I got
how about the nights you didn't buy pizza? How many times did you get thanked?
No. Very rarely did anybody else buy pizza, so I was the one buying pizza. But to Robbie's point, Rob King bought one night. And when Rob bought...
I love this story.
Yeah, when Rob bought the pizza, everybody still thanked me. So Rob's like, what? What happened? I bought this time. No, they kept thanking me.
Robbie told me to come in here and thank you for buying pizza, and I didn't know what he was talking about.
I refused to do it.
You're welcome, Paul.
You now I just on that landmine.
But they were. I would say to Robbie's point, it was funny how they did it, but to a man, they were very. Everybody's still like I haven't changed today. It's still. I'll do it every time. I do it all the time whenever there's games and they haven't been. It's a long week, and if I'm gonna have pizza, I get everybody pizza, and we buy like 4, 5, 6 pizzas and have them come in, and everybody's awesome. That the guys deserve it. They appreciate it, and I'm happy to do it. And
I'll tell you this: it's our tradition. If you ever get Robbie to buy pizza, mark the date that he let the bats out of his wallet to spend his communion money and bought somebody something.
Well, hey, Paul, to your point about that, Dave Ricchini, our buddy Dave, who Robbie's just crushing right now. Dave one time goes,
he's an asshole. I state facts.
Yeah, Dave, I said, I'd call in Freddie or Derek and Dave. I said, Dave, order the pizza. And they'd order the pizza and I'd give him my card. Blah, blah. He goes, hey, I'm going to try something different. I go, why? He goes, well, it's hard to get them. He goes, we're going to go this other route. So our buddy Matt Williams, right? It was the worst pizza. Our late buddy Matt. Yeah.
I love that man.
When we got the pizza, it was delivered. We all said that was the worst. It was conveyor belt pizza. Everybody called it conveyor belt pizza. So we crushed Dave because it was Dave Ricchini's fault that he bought the wrong pizza that night. So we stay with our old reliable. And always very good.
Can we, well, that'd be great to get him as a sponsor. I don't want to give him too much. Giovanni's Pizza is what we get. Giovanni's downtown Pittsburgh.
That's right. Is that right across from the arena?
Well, there is one.
Well, yeah, but he always bought it when we were in the studio.
Yeah, so it
was when the team was away when we got it. It was never at home because he was always at the arena,
Yeah.
and they were always 7:00 games. So it was a normal chance to eat and stuff for guys. So it was a lot.
I still do it on regular games too. It started late, but I do it anytime.
But yeah,
guys love pizza. I just say, do you want pizza? Yeah, they want pizza, and we order.
Giovanni's, get on the horn, sponsor us. Send a couple pizzas up here for the Sacred Grounds podcast, Giovanni's. I hope this gets to you. I like calling people out one-on-one.
I got it.
Who should I don't know who else we should call out, but you know what, man? It was a true honor because that is indicative of how you treated people. That's how you treated everyone. It's similar, and like what I wonder is like, so you work with Mario, right? Like you play with Mario, and you see how he treats his teammates.
Yep.
How much of that trickled down to you into the TV world?
Oh, I think
because that's how you treated us.
Yeah.
You know, you were never like, oh, I'm Jay Caufield. I play with Mario, or I'm one of Mario's best friends. Like you were just Jay. You're just Jay to us.
Yeah, I never felt any different. I don't think I'd ever be any different. I was never any different. He was never any different. To your point,
right?
Mario was never any different. Even all the success in the world and the greatest player in the world. He was never any different. I wouldn't. I think I am who I am just because my mom and dad. I grew up this way. I would be the same way all the time, and I would hope that if I was a way better hockey player or was a big goal scorer, that I wouldn't be any different. I don't think I would be, but I think I'm the same. I'd be the same way all the time. And I'd be the same way with the guys downtown. Everybody deserves that respect, And that's how Mario treated everybody when we were on the team.
Yeah, it's great.
Which is a
And
great thing.
It's
Was
cool
that
to
not
see
it? I don't know if that can be said for every superstar. That's how he was.
Yeah,
And I, hear
and I know
it's the same way.
Gretzky treats his people
Yeah.
similarly too. We've talked about one of my best friends in the entire world was a personal assistant to Wayne.
Yeah.
And I see how Wayne treats people, and it's like, man, then you see how Mario treats people. You see how all the greats do it, and they do it in every facet. Like they just, I don't know how to describe it. You spend all this time around people who have experienced such tremendous levels of success, and you realize it's not just because they were great physically on the field at their respective field. It was all encompassing.
Yeah.
It's how they treated people. It's the culture they set. It's the presence they had, and you see it everywhere.
Well, the one thing, and remember the one thing I said about Mario, like there's an aura about him. There's something about him, right? When he walks into places, it's immediate, and the same but he's approachable. But the way he is and how he goes, he's nice to everybody. I mean, he'll sign anything. He's very good that way. But there is something unique about that. You're that good, and he understands what it's about. But he just carries himself from wherever he walks into. He walks into the Capitol Grill, he walks into the arena, walks into this building here. He commands. There's a certain level of respect right away.
And it trickles down. It's like my point in saying is not to continually talk about Mario.
No.
But like we work with you who play with Mario, and Mario obviously is a big reason, the Penguins won those 2 rings. And why you have a Stanley Cup ring, and that's obvious. That's common sense. But it's like you see the treatment trickle down, I guess.
I agree.
Does that make sense?
That does make sense, Paul. That's how he would be. I totally get what you're saying, Robbie. I agree with that. Yeah.
What do you got, Paul? Anything else? Well, I'm done. I emptied the gamut with him.
You're good.
Thanks for the pizza, Jay.
You're welcome, Robbie. You're welcome, Paul. Yeah. Just going to take advance. Mark Coddington, too. You're welcome,
Mark Coddington. Mark, do you want to thank Jay for the pizza?
You're welcome, Mark. It's all you. I see Mark all week. He does a great job in ours, as you mentioned. Our podcast, he does a great job.
By the way, let's before we wrap up, how beautiful the studio, the production, everything. Yeah. This is a top-notch operation here at One Team Media.
I know,
and
it's
I'm proud
the
to be a
best one
part
I've
of it.
ever been in.
Yeah.
Well, truly, I think Brian Hess and One Team, the guys we mentioned, Mark and Ryan Jorgen, and everybody in the whole staff, but all the guests that we've had that have been in there, everybody says it's the same thing. Very impressive. What we're able to work with here and what you're embarking on your podcast, but they do a great job. They do a great job. The editing, uploading, all the stuff that goes with it, phenomenal.
Yep.
Very
Taps, Daryl, Timothy,
Yes.
the rest of the gang, Jason Lewis, it's Tyler Stratton, the rest of the group. I pray I'm not forgetting anyone right now.
They're all
probably
fantastic.
but you get the point. Jay, thanks for the pizza and for doing this.
You're welcome.
Paulie,
Pleasure.
take us out.
Take us out. Okay. Jay Caufield, Robbie Smikowski, and Paul Hogan for the Sacred Grounds podcast. We'll see you next week.